Here at the James Young High School, we're always finding out what's happening in the world of industry and commerce, so we can make sure that everything we teach here is useful and relevant to you when you leave the school. Recently, Barry Whelan, Principal Teacher of Maths and Computing, met with Dinesh Subramani, Senior Solutions Architect at Amazon Web Services. You might have heard of Amazon Web Services. It's part of the Amazon group of companies and specialises in providing computing services for some of the biggest things that are happening in the world just now. From developing vaccines against pandemics, to Formula One racing, to shooting off into space in the Blue Origin spacecraft. Barry asked what it's like to work in a company like Amazon Web Services and what you can do in school to prepare to work in a big technology company.
What's your job title? Describe what a typical day looks like for you, Dinesh.
Hi, Barry. Yes, this is Dinesh here. I'm a Senior Solutions Architect here at AWS, Amazon Web Services. First of all, thanks for having me. It's good to actually have this chat, and hopefully the students will get inspired with the conversation and, move towards cloud and STEM technology. So yes, this is Dinesh here again. My typical day would be working with different customers across different industries, solving their business problems with the help of technology. So that's what I do on my typical day.
Mm-hmm. So you work for Amazon Web Services. Is that the same Amazon that we get our deliveries from?
Yes, absolutely. Amazon Web Services is a public cloud provider and is part of Amazon. Yes, Amazon who delivers you the daily boxes, whatever you order, also has another wing of it, which is Amazon Web Services. So I did briefly mention they are public cloud provider. When I say cloud, imagine you have the ability to consume, the compute power you need or storage you need in terms of, computing storage and your technology needs on a pay-as-you-go model, like how you consume electricity and gas. And this is the technology side of Amazon's business, where they provide such services, more like Lego blocks that you could put together to solve problems. So that's basically our customers do. They get these technology services from Amazon and build things to solve their problems.
Okay. Sounds really interesting. What's kind of fun about your job? What do you enjoy about it most?
That's a good question, Barry. I think it's very important to have fun. The fun thing about my job, or anyone aspiring to be a solutions architect like me, is if you don't want every day of your work to be same, then this is the one for you. Not every day is same, because every day would bring in different customer challenges. And each of these customers would be coming from different industries, you name it, banking, farming, retail, or e-commerce. And each of them are trying to solve unique problems. The analogy I could give you is, imagine as a children, you are solving a Lego puzzle every day, but with different themes and different colors and different sizes and shapes, and trying to solve different problems. So that's exactly how I feel every day. And you also get chance to learn something new every day, which is always fun. So that's what is fun about my job.
Cool. Can you ever give some specific examples of something you might have done?
Yeah, there is a lot of things that is happening in the technology world. For example, the stuff that we have now taken for granted every day. For example, many of us actually ask Alexa to play a song or music of our likes. Alexa and Echo devices were built by our engineers in Amazon. And there are another example I could quote is there are many retail shops wherein you can just go pay for, buy the products that you want, and you can just walk out. Basically, it's not like you're escaping from paying, but all of it will be happening in an automated way in the background, which is great. So some of these technologies are possible, um, you know, because of all the technology developments that have happened. Another cool and fun example I could quote is big sporting events like Formula One. They have actually had better engagement with their viewers by giving predictions on stuff like which driver is going to overtake in which lap, and with a lot of precision. That's another cool example on the sporting world. In terms of pandemic, the COVID that we all just went through, there was this Moderna vaccine that they were able to actually create in the sequence for that vaccine was created in just 2 days using machine learning that was built on AWS, and the first batch of the medicine was released 25 days later. So if you look at all of these examples I just quoted, it's important to realize that all these technology problems, all these problems that we are trying to solve with technology are all touching people and their lives in real and meaningful way. And these are the type of problems you as a solutions architect will be able to solve every day in, day out for your customers, which I would say again is a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, that's really clear, and it makes it really maybe not understand what you do in your job. Obviously, we're a school, so what kind of academic skills do you need for your job, and what other skills do you think are important to softer skills?
That's a very good question, Barry. In fact, actually, I have my own child who is in high school, so I strongly feel a lot of what the children study in high school comes really handy. For example, subjects like maths is applied in many places where a lot of data comes into play. And you believe it or not, we are all generating data day in, day out, either it be your Fitbit or Apple Watch or, whatever wearables you're wearing, or your mobile phones. Everything is actually generating tons of data, which needs to be visualized, or, either it be machine learning and artificial intelligence we talk about. All of it involves some bit of maths in it. The fundamentals of maths will always remain important, and same is good with literature and communication. Ability to communicate and work as a team is another important skill, because we are always looking for a team of builders who can actually roll up their sleeves and help our customers, but also with ability to collaborate effectively and contribute as a team member. So communication, and then one of the important leadership principles that we look for from our people is learning and being curious. So if you're hungry to learn new tools and technologies and use your knowledge and skills to help solve problems, then that would be an asset. So having said all of this, one thing that I would want to stress was, you would have heard many companies quoting about failing fast. So we as a company believe, more the mistakes you make, more you learn from it. Of course, new mistakes, you can't be repeating the same once again, but as long as you learn from it, you get better at it. So my humble, advice for the students would be to have a culture where the failure is celebrated as much as success, and the lessons learned from the failures are used for betterment of our community and society in general.
Oh, that's great. And I think it's really good to hear that maths is important, but also to that bit about failure. We're always trying to get that through to students about how we learn from failure. So can you give an example, maybe what's your favourite failure and what you learned from it?
Yeah, certainly. There are so many failures. There are so many glorious failures, but let me quote something that the students can connect to. So one of my favorite failure was as a high school student. I used to be very average, while my fellow students were scoring A grades, I was just struggling to pass the exams, and I was really frustrated with my failures. this is normal. None of us are happy about ourselves when we fail. But I think what's more important to understand is that this frustration will not help us to dig deep and understand the areas where we could improve. So I would say for the students and for anyone for that matter, best way to deal with failure is learning to accept it as part of the process. So more we accept it as part of the process, then our focus would be on what's within our control and aspiring to get it right. The other thing I learned is to love what we do. So if we, if we earnestly love what we do, then accepting failure is a lot easy because we will persevere and go back at it and try again and succeed eventually. So so my sincere request would be, doesn't matter what career choice you do, either it be technology or arts or literature, whatever be your choice, put your heart into it, work hard, have fun, and I'm sure you're going to make history. The most important thing is success is just a byproduct. It's so important to have fun and enjoy the process than just always looking out for success.
That's great. I think that's important that the kids hear that message about success being an iterative process and kind of learning from it. I think one of the things that's so interesting about your job is there'll be a lot of new developments in technology. What new opportunities do you see emerging in your field and about in the coming decade or in the future?
Yeah. You know what, Barry? The world of technology continues to fascinate me. Back in 1990s, it was internet that was the coolest of things, and then slowly things changed, and then we heard a lot about virtual reality, and we are now already talking about meta. So yes, the technology advancements are always happening, but next decade or two is going to be a game changer. I'm more excited to think that this generation of students who are sitting and listening to this conversation will be the ones who are piloting it. For example, in a decade back, we would have never thought of finding a vaccine for a pandemic in such a short time frame. We cracked it this time around. So we have come a long way in terms of technology advancements. But the other important side of it is, I also see a lot of focus on being considerate to our planet, and sustainability is now more and more being part of everyday decision some of these big organizations are making. So if the last few decades was all about growth, I would say the next few decades is all about how we achieve the same growth and technology advancements, but do it in a sustainable way, in a way that we preserve and take care of this planet Earth we are blessed with, and to be diverse and inclusive in the ways we collaborate to make it happen. So that's what I'm excited about for the decades to come.
I think our students will be really on board with that message, and I think that's something to really think about is the environment. And I think if a student really wanted to get into this exciting career, what should they do to pursue a career in technology?
There is quite a lot of resources that students could lean on to, Barry. We have different programs within Amazon that supports students in pursuing them. There is wide range of careers to choose from. For example, the students are not just limited to technology. For example, if someone is good at project management and communication, then they could very well pursue that as their career choice. If you are great in building stuff, then you could be an engineer. You can choose the software engineering line. Or if you are great at architecting something, then you can choose architect, career role like me. So marketing, advertising, data scientist. So there are so many choices. It's just not restricted to, the technology element of it. Of course, technology in some form will be underpinning all of it. But it purely depends on what's your strength. So I would highly recommend play with your strength, pick the right role. So, at the end of this session, of course, we will share the resources or the links that are available for the students to, figure out where to start. But otherwise, please feel free to reach me on my personal email ID. I can support, the students with any career guidance or the choice they are trying to make. I'm more than happy to do that.
Thank you very much, and thanks very much for that generous offer and your time. It's been really interesting listening to you. I don't know if I'll quite apply myself yet, but I'm sure many of the students will be interested in taking part, and thank you for your time.
It was my pleasure, Barry, and all the best for James Young High School and the students.
We hope you found this video interesting. If you'd like to find out more about working in Amazon Web Services or other big technology companies, then have a look at these websites. You can also look at the My World of Work site for information on what skills and qualifications you need to work in technology. And if you're particularly interested in AWS, ask Mr. Whelan for an introduction to Dinesh, who would be happy to talk with you.